Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm Dr. Feroz Mubarak Messenger. I'm recording this video straight after finishing work today. I've been meaning to record this video, but unfortunately didn't have the time to do it in the last 1 week. But since a few new concerns have come out, I thought it is very, very important I address you all to acquaint you with this information. And also, as the masjids are opening and some masjids have already opened, it is very, very important to remind certain things to our brothers and sisters so that we are acutely aware of it when we go to masjid. So number one is COVID-19. It's not over yet. As you know, there are still deaths, there are still new cases, there are still some areas in the UK, especially some cities, this rapid surge of COVID-19, which necessitate the government to put focus areas of lockdown to secure the safety of people from this infection. The main three areas which are affected are the Midlands, Leicester, as you know, Leicester City was on focal lockdown, and of course, and particularly London. Why is it? It's because the infection is still quite serious and it is still quite active. The reason why countries put lockdown on is because of they can reduce the rate of spread. This is actually measured by R0. Normally, R0 of 1 means you spread infection from one person to just one person, 1 to 1. R0 of 2 means one person spread to 2 people. So you will increase. If 1,000 people are infected, those 1,000 will infect not another 1,000 people, another 2,000 people. So R0 of 0.5 means that 1,000 people will infect only 500 people. So if you want to bring COVID-19 pandemic down, you need to start bringing these R0 numbers down, ideally to 0.5 or below, definitely below 1. Okay? At the moment, as we speak, the average R0 in the UK is 0.7 to 1. In London, is somewhere around 1.1. Yesterday, it was 0.9. So you can see the numbers still not gone down. It's still around 1. So we need to really take this seriously, especially when we have communal interactions. I'm particularly talking about going to masjid and congregating and getting together as a crowd. We need to be serious about this. Most of us as Muslims belong to the BAME community, Black, Asian and minority ethnics. This is 99% of Muslims, apart from our reverted brothers and sisters from Caucasians. So we need to be extremely careful how we prevent this infection, because from the BAME community, we are genetically have a high risk of getting this COVID-19 according to research. You don't have to have heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, high blood pressure to get COVID-19 and get really serious with it. However, we, the BAME community, especially Black and Asian community, has got a significant high risk of getting the secondary causes of COVID-19, which are the people who suffer from severe chronic disease. That's diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, and of course, those people who have had cancer treatment, pregnant, so on. So we have got double the risk already compared to the Caucasian population. It's very important we don't ignore it. There's some brothers, it's really upsetting to hear that some brothers or sisters don't even believe COVID-19 exists. Some people think it is a biological warfare imposed by China or US. But some people think it's no more virulent than influenza. These people are sleeping. These brothers and sisters, where were they? Do they not see how many people died and dying even now in the hospital? In my hospital alone, 4 people died in the last 24 hours just from COVID-19. The death rate today in the UK is somewhere between 60 to 70, in fact 67 today. The new infection rate is somewhere between 600 and 700, 679 to be precise yesterday. So you can see, brothers and sisters, the devil's still there. The disease is still real. Okay? And the disease affects us the most. We are the most ignorant. Does that make sense? No. So let's not be ignorant. Let's not be blind to this severe, significant pandemic which can disable some of our children, because there's a new evidence to say that COVID-19 affects the unborn baby. Okay? So the prediction is it affects their neurological system. So we don't know yet, because if babies are born, they're only 6 months old. But we need to wait and see the effect of these. Maybe that they will get autism. Maybe that they will get disability. Maybe they get severe epilepsy. Maybe they might have significant mental retardation or neurological damage, that they can't walk, they are paralyzed. We don't know yet. Na'udzubillah, Allah should protect all of us from this. But these are the evidences coming. Because this disease is so young, it's only 6, 7, 8 months old, even if you have to start from Wuhan in December 2019. Still very young disease. We still don't know the aftermath of this disease. We are just starting to get research evidences to say this causes microscopic lung fibrosis, because it mainly affects the lungs. What does that mean? You must have heard of COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which means it's a permanent damage to the lung. These people who suffer from COPD will inevitably end up with home oxygen. They sometimes would have to use oxygen 4 hours every day, or most of the time 24 hours. They can't talk continuously, one single sentence, without grasping for breath. They can't walk 10 feet without grasping for breath. Because of their low oxygen saturation, they end up with dementia. They end up with cardiac risks. They end up with kidney risks. And they don't live very long. And this is given the support like in a Western world. Imagine in a world they don't get any respiratory support. They don't get oxygen. And that's because permanent changes to their lungs. And this is what we hear from COVID-19 affected people. They end up with microscopic fibrosis of their lungs, which means their alveoli, which is the small rooms where air go and get exchanged into oxygen. And these rooms going to get stiffer. So they can't extend. So the lungs can't expand. So the efficiency of air exchange reduces. We haven't seen the massive effect of this disease yet. And the next thing we know is this disease causes microscopic clots. They're usually called DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation. But we are talking about even more microscopic than that, which goes and affects multi-organs, all the organs in the body. At a larger level, this causes organ failure. Most of the deaths from COVID-19 is from organ failure, not just because respiratory support problem. So, brothers and sisters, we are dealing with a real problem here, a real devil. It's still alive, it's still there. Our brothers and sisters are dying from it. Most of us who get infected, alhamdulillah, get better, but don't forget, we don't know the effect of it. I have one of my doctors who work with me, he's a very senior guy. He had infection once. After 7 weeks, he had the infection again. So don't think you must have had COVID-19 and you're over. No. The immunity is also unreliable. And he was in Barnett Hospital ICU for 3 weeks before he was discharged. And he's on home oxygen at the moment. Now, this is a doctor who must have exposed to multiple viruses, must have developed immunity. No, he got it second time. First time was mild, second time he was serious. Usually infection works the other way around. For the same infection, you get it within a short period of time. The second infection is less severe than the first one. So this is a kind of a class of its own type of infection, which we can't really predict. Yet we are very ignorant as a community. So brothers and sisters, please think. You don't want to risk infection. Nobody is immune from this. We do say children, we do say younger people. I know rugby players who are very fit and well, who could run 5 miles every day. They must have a lung of made of gold. But he died of COVID-19 in Cardiff. So these are real stories. These are real examples for us to think of, okay, nobody is immune to this. So brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to say is COVID-19 is still real. Ignore those brothers and sisters. Try to kind of minimize the concept of that. Oh, there is no such thing. It's a biological warfare. So what? Even if it's biological warfare, it's still there among us. So we need to be extra careful. So my point is, brothers and sisters, when you go out, especially masjid, now the masjids are opening. The trustees, the staff are working around the clock to make your and my life safe when we go to masjid when they open. Some masjids opened already. Some masjids planning to open once a day for some time. Some masjids open for 5 prayers. And some masjids are planning to open for Jummah. The more number of prayers the masjid open, the more risk they put people on. But I'm sure they've done, the trustees would have done a calculation on this. But then the Jummah is the most dangerous one because of the congregations. So it's very, very, very important that you respect the rules of the masjid. You work with them. In case something goes wrong and there is a focus of infection in a masjid, the PHI and the inspectors will close your masjid down. There will be heavy penalty. And those people who are in charge of these are at a risk of criminal persecution. You can ask any lawyer about it. Crime against the law of the country, order of the country, is a criminal offense. And you can be persecuted if you knowingly ignore the government instructions and the laws. So it's extremely important we are careful in imposing the guideline and the safety measures in our masjid from the trustees' perspective. But as musallis, as attendees, we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't break those laws. They are there for a reason. They are for a safety. And don't listen to anybody who says the distance has reduced from 2 meters to 1 meter, especially in the masjid. There's no scientific basis for it. Absolutely not. And I can come to a debate with anybody who says there is a scientific reason until this time, this date. Because the virulence of the virus has not changed. It is still as infective. And when you cough or sneeze, it can still go about 1.5 meters. So reducing to 1 meter makes no scientific justification. This is socio-economical reason why the government reduced the 2 meter to 1 meter, so that they can accommodate twice the number of people in a business establishment, in a shop. If you say 2 meters, you can accommodate 5 people. If you say 1 meter, you can accommodate 10 people in the shops. Same, the institutions and things like that. So this is the reason why the government reduced it. There are statistical reasons for them to do it because they think the infection rate is going down, but the infectivity of the virus is not going down. And as we speak, it's evolving. So it's important we don't take certain scientific facts and laws into our benefit and try to break that safety margin. We don't. So please, brothers and sisters, I'd like to humbly request you to observe your social distancing. Make sure you wear the masks when you get out of the house, especially when you go to a congregation of something. Please respect the rules and regulation of the masjid. They don't gain anything by stopping you coming to the masjid. Okay? In fact, they are losing a lot of benefit to the masjid by not allowing as many people. But the reason why they are imposing certain regulation is for the safety of the musallis. You don't want the masjid to open today and in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, that to be closed. So brothers and sisters, please think about yourself, your safety, and the safety of the other brothers and sisters. Please be cautious. Please wash your hand before you leave. please wear your mask every time when you're out, especially when you're within a confined area, in a communal area. Please respect the laws of the masjid and the rules and the regulation of the masjid. Please understand that the people, the masjid, the trustees and the staff have gotten a duty to impose these regulations. So don't get angry with them. Don't be nasty to them. Okay, they don't gain anything by upsetting you, not allowing you, but they need to have some kind of regulation to stop the spread of the virus. So Jazakallah for listening to my video. Unfortunately, I had to do it just after work and in a rush. And I do not undermine any of you if you have the strong thought of, we should open the masjid. But remember, you're not going to lose any hasana by not going to masjid because of the circumstances. But please be understanding for the masjid rules, and please help to keep our community safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.